forgot to finish my story about Miguel Pinero. Miguel Pinero, make a long story short, wound up, he did a lot of stuff. Poetry, writing. One of my favorite pieces he wrote was The Cause. Puerto Rican, born and raised in Manhattan, the island of Manhattan, I believe it was Manhattan. Right in the thick of it all. I mean, he grew up in the, I would imagine the 60s into the 70s, and he became, I believe, he wasn't just a writer for Miami Vice, he became a principal writer for this TV series, hit TV series, I should say, and he became kind of famous from that, and he was robbing stores with his best friend, his other best friend, another Puerto Rican white. I don't know if they're full Puerto Rican or half Puerto Rican white, but him and his best buddy grew up together. 10 years old, robbing from 10 to 15 to 20, whatever, just robbing liquor stores at gunpoint, armed robberies. And sure, it was to pay for their heroin habit or whatever drug habit they were doing at the time, but they kind of got their kicks off it. Miguel Pinero was, I believe, the studios and all the money he was making, becoming a writer when he was a writer writing for Miami Vice. He was living in a like a 5,000 square foot posh penthouse in Manhattan. He had plenty of money. I mean, you live in a 5,000 square foot place in Manhattan, that's going to cost. It's a huge luxury penthouse. Not an apartment, a penthouse. And even, at least in the movie, it showed him, even though he was making all his money, he was worth a ton of money. He would go on a junkie binge, he would go on a heroin binge and just pass out in a fucking alley somewhere. That's what he did. That's how he grew up. That's what he knew. It's how he knew how to live. He'd get up, he might go back to his penthouse, luxury penthouse in Manhattan. Why not? Who knows? Might spend another night on the streets. He could live out in the streets. In fact, the guy who ended up, I don't know if he wrote the screenplay, but he ended up directing the movie Pinero, starring Benjamin Bratt as Miguel Pinero, who did an excellent job. I've almost respected Benjamin Bratt, especially Blood In, Blood Out. But Pinero, Benjamin Bratt deserved an Oscar for Pinero. I don't know. It's just one of those movies that just didn't get the recognition it deserved. Highly recommend watching it. It's a sad story of a junkie, Not only a junkie, he was successful. He had the world in the palm of his hands. Right in the palm of his hands. He was one of the executive writers. They kind of probably made him as executive producer for Miami Vice, and then go on to produce other TV shows and whatever. But he, and I get it. I totally get it. His life was the streets. So as someone getting, making a couple $1 million a check, him and his best friend was still around. They were still hanging out together. Best friends since like age 10. They grew up together. And even as basically a millionaire writing for Miami Vice, still would either get high, and he had all the money he needed to get high. He was rich. And him and his buddy who he grew up with, they would still, with all that money, this guy he wasn't only wealthy, he was kind of quasi-famous. He wrote for one of the biggest at the time, one of the hugest television series ever, Miami Vice, starring Don Johnson. With all this, they would still go out just for kicks. What do writers do for television series for kicks? They maybe go to Tahiti, go to Thailand, take a yacht across the fucking ocean, go to Italy, go to Tuscany, go to check out the pyramids, maybe go so bold as going to South America, the South Pole. What do rich people do for kicks? What did Pinero do for kicks? Him and his best friend would go and pull armed robberies at liquor stores. He'd do this with a couple $1 million in his bank account. They did it for kicks. You know, they're probably already high on heroin and they'd show them in the movies. They're just having fun. And some of them, I think there were some shootouts. He did shoot a place up. He was doing this while writing for a hit television series. And I think that's fucking hilarious. I thought I was crazy. I mean, all the shit you got, people see on my channel here. How the hell can I top Pinero?